talk about what's lovingly, in the most Orwellian language possible, called the Google Book Project. It's for your benefit. So if you want to research something, my goodness, every book is in their system. Yeah, there's this one problem. There's this thing called copyright, which they don't care about. And the greatest quote was from a guy in the UK. UK people know how to be obnoxious. And he said, you know, I'm almost tempted to do this in a British accent, but I won't subject you to that. He says, to endorse what Google is doing, scanning in copyrighted books, is to say it's okay to break into my house because you're going to clean my kitchen while you're there. It's absolutely true. What they're doing is improper, and there's been a big war about that, and Google has essentially said, yeah, tough. What the hell? Okay, how do I undo that? Press that, no, press that. 1 second. Okay. What I wanted to do is I wanted to go back. Well, it's not letting me, oh no. Okay. Thank you, brother nerd. Perfect example is misuse of trademarks. If you work for the Coca-Cola company and you bid the highest on Google for the ad word Pepsi, anytime somebody Googles colas or Pepsi, they will get a link to your site. Never mind that millions and millions of these things are trademarked, and that there's been problems with Ford searches going to Nissan and Coke going to Pepsi and things like that. Google just doesn't care. And by the way, final word on their relative sense of humor. A CNET reporter, the online newspaper, decided to go in and interview the Google staff. And before they did, before this reporter, this intrepid reporter, went and interviewed the Google PIO guy, Public Information Officer, he Googled him. And he went in with a big stack of stuff, and he said, halfway through the interview, he said, by the way, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about privacy concerns. You know, it's now possible to pretty much know everything about someone, and there's probably even more stuff that you're not putting out on the net, which we now all know is true. Here, for example, is the stack of stuff I Googled on you. And if you read this article, which New York Times, Wall Street Journal. If you read this article or look up this story, probably not on Google, but if you look up this story, you'll see that what happened is this Google PIO guy jumped up, started screaming at the guy, threw him out of the office, and banned all interviews with CNET for a year. Sense of humor is lacking. Now, Yahoo, which is in some areas even bigger than Google, most of us don't know that, but it is, at least they're upfront about it. Yahoo says, once you register with us and sign in, you're not anonymous. We're gathering your stuff. Microsoft, I mean, you all knew Microsoft was doing it without me telling you. Let's talk for a second about de-anonymizing data. How many of you in this room, just show of hands, think that at least most of the time, or a substantial part of the time, you are anonymous on the net? How many of you think that? You see, this is an awesome crowd. I don't know where the camera is. I can't tell where the video is being made from. But if it's not being made from in the back, nobody raised their hand. So this is the right crowd for me. University of Texas was able to take Netflix purchases and IMDb postings, check for proximity in time, and de-anonymize some of the people by saying, okay, this person checked on Netflix for Gone with the Wind, I'm making that up, and the next day wrote a review on IMDb about Gone with the Wind.